Good day, and welcome to the Lillyroddyshow, coming to you from the LRS studios here in Houston, Texas. Always so happy to have you here today so I can share my astrological forecast with you. I know that last week was rather crazy, starting with the eclipse on April 4th, and that continues through the 8th of this week. I hope everyone can respond to the energies the best they can. The Uranus-Pluto square is very active in the beginning of the week, and this is going to be a decisive making time for many of you. The weather is getting warmer and warmer and more humid here in Houston. We've already had some fairly warm days, even for us here in Houston, and of course the pollen is at a very high level. We do have one fairly long void moon period on Thursday, but nothing like we have been having. If you would like to have a personal session with me, you can reach me at Lillyroddyshow at AOL.com, Lillyroddyshow.com, or find us on Twitter, Facebook, or Pinterest. In my personal sessions, I always look at relationship and career issues. My sessions are about 65 minutes long, and I can work here in my office, over the phone, or on Skype. I will need your birth date, time, and location for the session beforehand, and I look forward to hearing from you. Well, let's look at what's going on for next week. Sunday, April 5th. Today is Easter Sunday. The moon starts the day, void of course in Libra, but enters the deeply emotional sign of Scorpio at 2:04 p.m. and is no longer void of course. Now we begin our Pluto-Uranus activity for the next 3 or 4 days. The Sun squares Pluto at 10:05 a.m. The ongoing Uranus-Pluto square is once again activated over the next 2 days as the Sun first makes contact with Pluto today and Uranus tomorrow. With the Uranus-Pluto square aspect activated for the last couple of days and continuing to be activated over the next 3 or 4 days, tensions are high and people will want to choose a side. Generally, this is a time when we are purging and releasing facets of our own ego that have outlived their usefulness. We will be motivated to get rid of people, things, and career paths that keep us attached to our past. This is a time of decision-making and moving forward. The moon enters Scorpio at 2:04 p.m. and is no longer void of course. We begin to focus on shared resources and how to improve that support. The moon opposes Mars at 9:58 p.m. This is going to be a fairly emotionally charged evening. Using this energy as a positive force, we can make this a great time for a tennis match, a workout at the gym, or enjoying some hot charged sex with your partner. Otherwise, if you see drama, move in the other direction. Monday, April 6th. The moon journeys through emotionally reserved Scorpio for the entire day. We may feel that we need to be on guard emotionally all day. The moon trines Neptune at 7:05 a.m. We will really need some time for ourselves this morning. Make sure you have plenty of time to get to where you're going. Mercury trines Jupiter at 8:26 a.m. As a benefit of the overall craziness of the morning energies, our communication skills are working better than usual. This can help us to be more open to new ideas and especially to non-conventional solutions to problems. This can be a very good time to start a new project, take on a new partnership, or even begin a long-term educational program. Highway systems and air travel are both ruled by these planets. We could hear news announcing plans for improvement to these systems. This aspect is in effect for a couple of days. The Sun conjuncts Uranus at 9:08 a.m. All of us feel the need to be free from any restraints that limit the personal expression of their energies. We are drawn to the things that interest us mentally today. And we may not want to follow the rules. We may feel that we have the authority to step around them to get our needs met. In a positive sense, this is a very entrepreneurial energy. We're willing to experiment, and we want to step outside of our comfort zone. In the negative, this can be a time when self-righteous individuals feel they must inflict their sense of humanity on you. Everyone will be feeling especially edgy, and almost nobody will be sleeping well. This aspect is in effect for a couple of days. I know that's happy news, no sleep. The Moon squares Jupiter at 2:43 p.m. This aspect in the afternoon does give us a chance to break away from some of the emotional intensity that's been around all day. You will need a break. Take some time to wring out your brain. In the evening, the Moon sextiles Pluto at 8:23 p.m. We're in a very thoughtful but action-oriented mood this evening. It's an opportune time to plan or work on future projects, or to get your agenda organized for the next day. We feel very real this evening. Tuesday, April the 7th, the Moon resides in intense Scorpio all day, but she does turn void of course in Scorpio at 3:42 p.m. and remains so for the rest of the day. Get your more important activities taken care of before this time. Excuse me, I am dealing with the pollen today. The Moon opposes Venus at 3:42 p.m. We are very concerned about our creature comforts this afternoon. Paying extra attention to the people you come into contact with today will have direct benefit for you. This could be a perfect time for an afternoon delight. The Moon does turn void, of course, at 3:42 p.m. and remains so until she enters Sagittarius at 12:08 a.m. on Wednesday. This marks the beginning of a fairly long void of course moon. We still feel the intensity from the planetary lineups from yesterday, and that will keep us motivated. It would be best to take a slower pace and smell the flowers along the way. In the evening, Mercury squares Pluto at 7:05 p.m. The push for change and growth via the Uranus-Pluto square is once again activated as Pluto, the detective, comes onto the scene. You're asking questions about everyone's motives and agendas. This is actually a good time for any type of research or investigation. We will go where no one has gone before. We can also be excessive about our digging, believing there's much more there than there really is. Ultimately, this is about you exploring your own dark side and not questioning others' motives. What choices and decisions have brought you to this point in time that you have now outgrown? In the real world, it's a perfect day to clean out those files on your computer and to make sure that your cloud has a silver lining. This aspect is in effect for a couple of days. Wednesday, April 8th. The Moon starts the day void of course in Sag, but she quickly enters justice-oriented Sag at 12:08 a.m. for the remainder of the day. Of course, we continue with the Mercury making connection with Uranus, continuing this Uranus-Pluto activation. Mercury conjuncts Uranus at 7:20 a.m. Our nervous system is always highly amplified when these two planets connect. They can also add to our inability to sleep as well. This is a time of brainstorming and total out-of-the-box thinking. This could be a very innovative time for the high-tech industries. Individually, we are saying what we think, and we want to be seen as individuals. People want to express their freedom today. Negatively, it can be a time when people try to shove their small-minded ideas down your throat. On the way to work, give yourself plenty of time to get to where you're going. This effect, Mercury conjunct Uranus, is in effect for a couple of days. The moon conjuncts Saturn at 8:30 a.m. Our inner voice of authority is awakened and it develops a grip on reality and get ourselves back on the straight and narrow path. People could be very demanding this morning and unappreciative of what you do for them. All of us feel a little melancholy as we start the day. Jupiter, planet of expansion and foreign lands, turns stationary direct at 11:58 a.m. Jupiter, moving in forward motion, signifies a time when we should be reaching out in a more magnanimous fashion and validating the love that we should all feel for each other as a society. By seeking our commonalities, we are all less foreign to each other. The moon squares Neptune at 4:38 p.m. It's now time for a long afternoon break, or the opportunity to go home early from work. At the very least, all of us will need some quiet time for ourselves. We don't feel a boost in our energy until the latter part of the evening. The moon trines Jupiter at 11:48 p.m. All of us feel much more at ease during the later evening. If you're awake, this is a great evening for early breakfast or just to be curled up on the couch watching a movie. Thursday, April 9th. The moon occupies mind-expanding Sagittarius for the whole day, but she does turn void of course at 12:42 p.m. and remains so for the rest of the day. Get your more important activities done before that time. The moon trines Uranus at 7:17 a.m. We feel more optimistic and upbeat this morning, finally. We're open and receptive to other people's points of view, and this is a beneficial time for any type of early business meeting or community group. The moon trines Mercury at 11:40 a.m. Our communication and thinking skills are highlighted this late morning when these two planets combine. It's an ideal morning for any type of presentation or sales pitch. Take care that you are not too long-winded. The moon trines the sun at 12:42 p.m. This is a great combination of planets favorable for any type of activity. This is especially promising for any type of social or interactive programs. The moon turns void of course in Sag at 12:42 p.m. and will remain so until she enters Capricorn at 7:47 a.m. on Friday morning. This marks the beginning of a long 19-hour moon void of course. With the moon void in Sag, pay attention to what's in front of you and things will go perfectly fine. The sun conjuncts Mercury at 11:01 p.m. This combination of planets enhances our ability to communicate more clearly about our own personal needs and habits. It can also help us to think more clearly and more logically. This can be an excellent time for writing, blogging, or doing a presentation. This energy can make us a bit restless and sometimes bored with what we're doing. It can also affect our sleep this evening. Since this aspect is in effect for a couple of days, you may need plenty of distractions to keep you from being bored. However, this is a productive time for those of you that like to multitask. Friday, April 10th. The day begins with the moon void of course in Sag, when she enters practical and prudent Capricorn at 7:47 a.m. and is no longer void of course. The moon trines Mars at 9:36 p.m. We're much more motivated in the evening. we feel drawn to activities closer to home. If you're working, this is a good time to start a new project or take some initiative on your own. The moon sextiles Neptune at 11:38 p.m. We're in a relaxed, contemplative, and nostalgic mood this evening. We feel very sensitive, and you should be careful about the company you keep this evening. Saturday, April the 11th. The moon spends the entire day in Capricorn, the sign of the worker bee. Venus, planet of physical sensation and sweets, enters Gemini at 10:29 a.m. for an approximate 26-day stay. Venus in Gemini indicates a time for us to be more open and experimental. Seek to add more beauty to our daily life. Words have stronger impact on our relationships as well. Starting off the day, the moon conjuncts Pluto at 11:32 a.m. We experience a very high intensity and energetic morning. We speak our own truth this morning and clear out the past residue of things in our life that limit our growth and expansion. This can be a time of decision making. We may even feel that we must make a decision and that we're left without a choice. Emotionally, it's always an enhanced time to clean out your emotional closet. The moon squares Uranus at 1:41 p.m. At this time of the day, we'll want to break away from the task we've been working on in order to gain a larger perspective. We may just need a longer lunch hour to get it all out of our system. Keep the car running and your exit plan handy. Focus on what you want to do and all will be well. In our last aspect for the week, the moon squares the sun at 10:44 p.m. Late in the evening, we're feeling a bit bored and restless. Although it's kind of late, it may be a good time to get out for a late night dinner or midnight movie. This may also keep us from sleeping very well this evening. If you have to be busy, get yourself ready for tomorrow. Well, I hope you all fare well through the earlier part of the week. The latter part of the week is obviously a bit easier. Thank you for joining me this week so I could share my astrological views with you and hopefully give you some ways to avoid some of the negative times. If you haven't, please take the time to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And join us next week as we look at April 12th through the 18th. This is the Lilly Show here in the LRS studios, reminding you to keep those stars in your eyes. Bye-bye.